What you're going to see now are extracts from some of the most popular suffrage plays. There were over 100 in all, written from 1907 to 1914 and produced by the Actresses Franchise League, amongst others. They weren't just about the vote, they were about issues that concerned suffragists: unequal pay, working conditions, sexual violence against women and girls, and women's visibility in public space. There's a lot to chew on and a lot to like. Enjoy.
Bit surprised to see me, eh? You'll be more surprised to hear where I have been. When she came herself to ask me, being all young and pretty, I says yes to the new vicar's lady, wishing to oblige her. Not that I've got any want for a mother's meeting, having ate myself and all going strong, but I am that good-natured when not put upon. So that afternoon I sets off with me best hat, and I am trying to remember where that place is, and I see a woman in a doorway, and she says, "Are you coming to the meeting? It'll be very interesting," she says. "There'll be so much food for discussion," and I was glad to hear that. "I don't mind helping out with discussion," I said, easy and pleasant like. "Right," she says, "in you go," and in I went. Well, it was a big hall, about half full of women and some men, and there was a lady on the platform talking. So I sat down and I listened. My goodness me, it was the rummiest mothers' meeting I'd ever seen. She was waving her arm up and down, and the things she was saying, oh, to think anyone could be that silly, and nicely dressed she were too. "Let us guard the sacred hearths of our own. Do not let us lose the respect of the men by venturing into the arena with them. Men go out to fight, and they are ready to give up their life for their country. And they will bear the hardships and suffering in the open field, while the woman remains peacefully sheltered in her home. To him alone need be given the privilege of his constitution. Let us have fair play," she says. And then she talked a lot about women who'd been in prison that wouldn't pay their taxes. "They abuse the very name of woman," she says, abusing them herself all the time. "It is terrible that these poor misguided creatures are neglecting their duty to come forth into the public gaze to rant and rave about their so-called rights. Why do they interfere in political matters when it's past their understanding? This is not a woman's space. Let her not enter here." And then she fixed me with her eye. I nearly called her out. Why was she doing this all herself if she didn't like it? I'd only come to please the vicar's wife. Oh, and then she talked about law business, saying how good men were at making laws and so careful for women, and that they knew so much better what we wanted than we did ourselves. Oh, my blood began to boil. To hear her talk, it was like all men were angels and women were just pet cats for them to stroke when they had a mind for it. "Fact is," she said, very solemn and slow, like she'd had a thought that nobody's ever thought about before, "that man is man and woman is woman." Then she sits down sudden like. Well, there is some clapping, and then somebody else got up and asked, "Has anyone got anything to say?" And no one said anything. Me, being of an inflammatory nature, I stood up but sat down again, and there was 3 ladies in green dresses near me. They said, "You got something to say? Then get up and say it. Are you one of us?" "Well, I ain't one of her lot," I said. "Then get up," they says, and up I got. Oh, and however I came to it, I cannot think. But I get up and I says, "You may mean well, but all you're saying makes no sense. What if a man can't or won't go out to earn himself a living? And how can you be peaceful and happy at home like you said if you've got a chronic rheumatic for a husband as mine is? And what would have happened to me if I didn't buckle down and go out to work for him and myself and my 8 kiddies? Well, hear, hear, cried the women, and they cheered. Of course, I don't get paid as much as him, what with being a woman, but I work just as hard. And they say, all of them at the factory, that I was the better man of the two. Now that ain't fair play. And to the men, hardship and suffering. What about the women bearing children? No hardship and suffering about them, ain't there? And if you knew men as well as I do, you wouldn't be afraid to lose their respect. Let them go and fight if they have to. Not that the government pays them precious well, and I should know. I've got 2 brothers and a nephew in the army, and I have never come across a man who has turned down a good dinner that his mother or his wife had earned by going out to work. No, I have got nothing against men and haven't called to, but when it comes to taxes, there is no difference between men and women, and you can't even them up in one place and have them top dog and bottom dog in another. That ain't fair play. Why, I says, you may have heard a lot about it, maybe, votes for women. And I declare all that I have seen today has made it clear that's what we want. Them laws now. Sit down, the woman on the platform said, very indignant, and all the women were clapping and cheering. I ain't done, I said, bold and cheerful like, but law, there was a regular hubbub, and they wouldn't let me go on. And the women near me said, you're capital. Will you come and speak on Friday for us? I said, no, I'm not going to any more mothers' meeting. They says ours is a suffrage meeting, not an anti like this. Oh, what? I says, isn't this Mrs Jocelyn's mother's meeting? Oh, how they laughed. No, they said that was Lady Clementina Pettigrew that was talking when you came in, and you took the wind right out of her sails. Well, I never. The ladies took my name and I joined the society. They reckon I must have been one of them without even knowing it. I'm going to speak on Friday. My name is Mrs Peter Puckle. It's on the posters. I do hope you can come and hear me.